Tutakwenda moja kwa moja kuzungumzia ile masuala ambayo kwa kweli yanakanganya sana wa Kenya, na nitaanza na sehemu ambayo wa Kenya ukimbilia sana panapokuwa na shida, ambapo ni katika majengo ya bunge. Na niko na kiongozi hapa ambaye si mwingine ni ndugu yetu Robin Boy. Tutakatuzungumza kwa zaidi kwa asilimia 100. Kwanza, kama kiongozi unaipa asilimia ngapi serikali ya Kenya Kwanza katika swala zima la gharama ya maisha?
Thank you. I think I would give them about 10%. And 10% just because they've shown up in the office every day in neat suits. But the reality is that when it comes to issues of cost of living, which was one of the promises that they gave during the campaigns, they have failed this country. Because you see, the first thing that you have to do when you deal with cost of living is ensure that you make sure that disposable income is available for the people. At the same time, of course, then you ensure that the prices of goods and services are also lowered. Now, the minute they brought the finance bill, the first finance bill under this administration, they pushed up the tax regime that raised the cost of all goods and services. Because the minute you touch on fuel, then everything goes up, because fuel touches on transportation, fuel touches on the cost of electricity, fuel touches on everything. So basically, even manufacturing. So basically what happened is that the cost of all goods and services went up. At the same time, the same finance bill, they've gone into the pockets of Kenyans, because everybody with a salary has been affected tremendously by this regime. So they have reduced disposable income. Those people are being made to pay. People are being made to pay for a levy for, I think, housing. Yeah. You are aware that there is a proposal now to even raise the hospital insurance fund. Yeah. So basically, what they have done is raise the cost of goods and services and reduce the amount of money that is available for expenditure. Okay. So how then do you expect the country to move forward?
So it's a 10%. Let me bring in Willis again on this. And Willis is an advocate of the High Court and also the Secretary General of FINA party. Have the promises been kept when it comes to the cost of living?
No promise has been kept. In fact, let me say this. The facts speak for themselves. I listened to the ministers speaking. I can tell you no Kenyan remembers what they said. The facts speak for themselves. They are not even able to articulate what issues are. When they came into office, the Kenyans were far much better in terms of their economic condition than they are today. You measure government based on the positive impact that it has on Kenyans. Last year, Kenyans were buying food, were able to access services at a higher rate than they are today. Today, it is more and more pain. In fact, when you listen even to the Mwananchi, this is the studios that was what was being covered before, people are just complaining about food. We are now reduced to a situation where all that is promised that we are sure will come is more taxation. We have reached a point where we're going to even tax swimming. Swimming, which somebody sees as a luxury, but in essence, it's more of a life skill. It can save your life. It's even a sport. But Kenya Kwanza has not kept any promise. In fact, if you look at the promise they've kept, the initial ones that could be mentioned, maybe somebody will tell you that we've appointed judges. That has now been reduced to Mambo ni Matatu. Mambo ni Matatu, which is outside the rule of law rubric. So for me, I'll give them a D-, and D- just for appearing.
Na labda pengine Trevor, kama kabla kuingilia Faith, kuna swala moja utalizungumza kwa lugha ambayo itakuwa ni rais kwako. Serikali iliingia wakati wa kuna kipindi kigumu sana, ilipata hali haikuwa nzuri ya kiuchumi. Ukiangalia mwaka mmoja ambao ameweza kumaliza, tunapaswa kuweza kuwapa kongole kwa zile juhudi ambazo wameweka, ama tupaswa kuweza kuwapa kongole kwa juhudi ambazo wameweka za kuhakikisha kwamba gharama ya maisha imeshuka?
So thank you. Now, when you look at 1 year since the president took on the reins, I can say that his inaugural speech was quite encouraging. He mentioned sectors that he's going to work on, particularly cooperative, SMEs, the healthcare center, particularly revamping NHIF and the likes, ensuring affordable housing. But sadly, I would say I cannot congratulate this current government as is, because the Law Society is part and parcel of the petitioners that were in court this morning, particularly on the finance bill. So there are challenges, and the weight on the people is quite heavy. And so we ask ourselves, is the government weighing based on IMF requirements, or looking at how can they jumpstart this economy? How can they ensure that there is access to credit to more people, that even the driver or the Uber rider can be able to afford to take loans to take on Uber driving. You see more and more people are going into informal sectors to supplement their other formal work because you cannot afford the current cost of living. We're having situations where people who would live on their own are now opening, sharing spaces so that they can have B&Bs within their own living spaces. So this shows that the economy is not doing well.
So how do you rate the government's performance in terms of cost of living?
For myself, unfortunately, I'd rate 30%.
So 30%, that's
Yeah.
close to an E, also D minus. Let me bring in Diana Geshengo really fast there. And Diana, they say there's a plan. At least when you talk about fertilizer, subsidized fertilizer, it's there. They're saying that eventually will lower the cost of living. Aren't you convinced that there is a plan in place and they just need a bit more time before you give your rating?
Is there a plan? Was there ever a plan? Unfortunately, this government was able to articulate that there was a plan. But everything that has happened in the first year moves away from anybody who had trusted that there was a plan. Because what was projected around agriculture, around financial inclusion, around the plan was women 50-50. The cabinet studio has all men right now. They are struggling to get the women who will make it 50-50. Where is the plan? The plan was abstract. It has now remained, it is now vague. Maybe it's being recreated. There was no plan. Either that or the reality that they found within government was a huge shocker that then they set aside the plan. And I think it's time they acknowledged that and recreated a plan with all Kenyans afresh. That will be something that we would believe, but I'm not sure. I'm actually waiting for Mzalendo to tell us where we are at, where there seems to be hope. But from where I sit, the plan has been vacated.
And your score would be a what?
In line with the new higher education guidelines, we would keep it at a D.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's cross over back to Ayub and get some answers from there. Ayub?